The brothers that can join in, inshallah, come forward, inshallah. One more minute, inshallah. Let's let the brothers complete their prayers. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. يقول الله عز وجل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Inshallah, we continue with our lessons every Thursdays. The topic chosen was on the virtues of the Quran. Sometimes we go off topic, okay? Please don't mind. It's only because there's some point that I wanted to hint, okay? Otherwise, I won't be going off the topic. We stopped on Surah Al-Rahman. We finished Surah Al-Rahman, the special merits of Surah Al-Rahman. Inshallah, we go to Surah Waqiah. And I told you the reason why we wanted to do this is because the Quran is a special book. It's the most special book given to the most special prophet. Not only is it the best of the best, likewise Rasulullah is the best of the best. Likewise, it was sent down in Ramadan on the best of the best month. Just like we have special occasions, special times when certain things are accepted. Ramadan is special. Throughout the 12 months, Ramadan is a special month. From every single day of the week, Friday is a special day. Why? Because of Jumu'ah, isn't it? Likewise, Rasulullah himself, he's a special prophet. Not only because he came last, but because of the virtue that he has over all others. His virtue alone is greater than every single other prophet ever sent before. They might have come before him, but in status, he is much higher than everyone and anyone to put together. Likewise, there are certain surahs inside the Quran, if you read it at certain occasions and at certain timings, the acceptance and the reason why you're doing it, the acceptance of that is much greater. For example, from the hadith we learn that we read Surah Waqiah every single night. Every single night, meaning from Maghrib time until Fajr time. You got the option. Now, if a person reads it at daytime, does it have the same virtue? It won't have the same virtue. You'll get the reward, but the same virtue is not mentioned during the daytime. Whether, unless, for example, Surah Yasin. Surah Yasin, the virtue of daytime as well as nighttime is there. If anyone wants to wake up in the morning, read it in the morning, is a morning person, that's fine. Anyone wants to pray, recite it at nighttime, alhamdulillah, that's also excellent, because the virtues are all inclusive, day and night. Whereas Surah Waqiah, here the first hadith, inshallah, let me read the Arabic. The first hadith is mentioned in Tirmidhi. It is also Sahih. All of the hadith that I will be mentioning again, I reiterate myself that all of them are Sahih. Okay, without a shadow of a doubt, all of them are Sahih. عن عبد الله بن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه سألت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما شيبك قال سورة هود والواقعة والمرسلات وعما يتساءلون وإذا الشمس كورت. These 5 surahs, Rasulullah was asked, what made your hairs go grey? What made your hairs on your head, on your beard go grey? Again, for those who are not here, we mentioned that Sahaba and Rasulullah, when they recited the Quran with full contemplation. With full contemplation. That's why Imam Shafi'i, one of the greatest Imams throughout Islamic history and one of the greatest Salafus Salihin, he said learning the Arabic language is a necessity. It's wajib upon every single Muslim. Why? Simple. You can't understand Quran, you can't understand Hadith if you don't know Arabic. Simple. If you don't understand the message in the original language, how are you a Muslim? Is that understood? The logic, rationale behind that is very easy and very simple. If you don't make an effort to learn the language that the Quran was revealed in, then you'll never understand the book. Whenever the Quran is recited, you're going to be like, oh, mashallah, the Shaykh is reciting so beautifully. Allahu Akbar. Mishari has come, Sudais has come, Shuraim has come, Yasir al-Dosari has come, this person has come, that person has come. You're only going to listen to the tune and you're going to say, mashallah. That's not the reason why the Quran was revealed. Na'udzubillah, you know. That's not the reason why the Quran was revealed. Yes, there's a beauty to the Quran. Yes, 100%. Everyone knows there's a beauty to the Quran that hasn't been given to any other books. Try to read any other book in that same fashion of the Quran. You won't be able to. It's not possible. The melody that the Quran has, especially if someone has a beautiful voice and Allah's blessed them with a beautiful voice, that melody itself is a miracle, definitely. But the most miraculous nature of the Quran is the meaning. The meaning is more. Why do you think the Arabs, when they heard the Quran, they were so bewildered? Their minds were so completely amazed. They were shattered. Every single thing that they knew of the Arabic language, they were completely shattered. When this Quran came down with the same ABCs, with the same alif ba ta that they make their language up with, they were shattered. They were like, what produces this? This is way out of our league. Although it's the same alif lam mim sad, same taha, same tasin mim, these letters that are the same Arabic alphabets. But what the Quran, the meaning, the power of the meaning of the Quran, one verse, I've got a tafsir. لَقَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ بَعَثَ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا مِّنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. That whole ayah, a whole volume, believe me, it's like 600 pages, approximately 600 pages. One verse of the Quran, tafsir. If you want to learn to do tafsir, that's one verse, approximately 600 to 700 pages. This is the power of the Arabic language. One verse, maybe 2-3 lines, but the explanation of it is 600 to 700 pages. That's the power of the Arabic language. So the question was to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what made you go grey? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, these 5 surahs. These 5 surahs. He mentioned Surah Hud. What does Surah Hud have? A lot of stories of the prophets. A lot of the stories of the prophets. Hud alayhi salam himself was a prophet. And the destruction of those nations. So for us, again, to reiterate myself, for us not to fall into those same mistakes. The past nations, they fell into so many errors. Those same errors we must never ever fall back into. Surah Hud. Second one is Surah Waqiah. What does Surah Waqiah have? That's scary. Qiyamah. Qiyamah. It talks about Qiyamah in abundance. Then Surah Mursalat, again to do with Qiyamah, a lot to do with Qiyamah. Amma yatasa'alun. Imam, he read it just now. Again to do with Qiyamah. It continuously talks about Qiyamah. وَإِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ. When the sun will lose its light. When the sun will be eclipsed. When the sun will lose its light. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ. In many other narrations, it adds other surahs as well, like إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ. And then إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انفَطَرَتْ. All those surahs as well. All those surahs are to do with Qiyamah. Okay? Anyone wants to understand and have a clear picture of the Day of Judgment, these are the surahs to read. Okay, I gave you 2 bonuses. Those five surahs that I mentioned, Surah Hud, Surah Waqi'ah, Surah Mursalat, Amma yatasa'alun, إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ. Then I gave you إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ and إِذَا السَّمَاءُ فَطَرَتْ. عن جابر بن سمرة رضي الله عنه قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي الصلاة كنحو من صلاتكم التي تصلون اليوم ولكنه كان يخفف كانت صلاته أخف من صلاتكم كان يقرأ في الفجر الواقعة ونحوها من السور. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to pray like the salah that we pray today. Okay? Nothing's new. Our deen isn't new. Salah doesn't change. Isn't it? Nothing changes. وَلَكِنَّهُ كَانَ يُخَفِّفْ. He used to go easy, meaning he used to shorten the prayer slightly. Now, their shortening and our shortening is slightly different, isn't it? When we start prolonging the salah, people think we're making it too long. Whereas the Sahaba, they used to read long, very long qira'ah in salah, extremely long qira'ah. So for them, when you read only 3 to 4 pages, for them it's nothing. It's as if it's a short salah, as if it's a really light salah. So his salah was like your salah, but slightly shorter. And this is talking to the Sahaba. Okay? كَانَ يَقْرَأُ فِي الْفَجْرِ. In the Fajr salah, he used to read Surah Waqi'ah. This surah that we're talking about, he used to read Surah Waqi'ah. Waqi'ah is how many pages? 1, 2, approximately 3 pages in our normal Quran, 15-line Quran. Surah Waqi'ah. The next hadith that we have shows the true virtue of Surah Waqi'ah. Everyone is struggling right now. Everyone is struggling. Most of us are struggling. We're always thinking about our finances. What's going to happen in our future? Especially our youngsters here. We always think money, money, money. Money does everything. As if money, a person may have money, but that money is not coming to use. That money is not giving him peace. Believe me, you don't want that money. You can have all the pills in the world. That peace will not be brought. So never just go for money. Understand halal and haram first before you go into money. Okay? Especially when you're younger. For our elders as well, same thing. Halal money will give you a comfort in your heart that you will never, ever, ever get in haram money. Haram money, not only will it destroy you from within, but even within your children, you'll see the results. This is why it is so dangerous to touch a penny of haram. To take a loan from the bank, a person thinks it's easy. Just on finance. Whether it's a car, whether it's a sofa, whether it's whatever. Whether it's a house. Person thinks it's nothing. Allah will forgive me. Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. Are you being like the hypocrites and saying, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُم? Do you think you can deceive Allah for the next 25, 30 years of your life and get away with it? You are being monitored. CCTV is there 24/7. It doesn't stop. It stops only when you stop. It started the day you became baligh. The day you became of mature age. That's the day it started. Your CCTV started, and this CCTV will come to an end the day that your last breath will be taken. When Azrael comes and snatches your soul. So this continuous CCTV will be shown on the day of judgment. If you think that for 25 years of your life, you can continue to pay haram and then find satisfaction. You can make your sons hafizes and alims. You can make your daughters hafizes and alims. It won't do you anything. Wallahi, that house is like a burning fire. That house is like a burning fire. That alim cannot save you. That Maulana that can't save you. That mufti cannot save you. That sheikh cannot save you. That hafizul Quran that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, 10 people he can intercede, those 10 family members that are destined on the list of Jahannamiyun. Cannot save you. Cannot save himself. He's inheriting haram. You're making him inherit haram because of you. Why I'm being extremely strict here? Because many of our brothers, they've lost the plot. Wallahi, they've lost the plot. They don't understand halal and haram. They don't care. They don't bother. When we don't bother, how do we think our children will bother, brothers? How? Or any sisters that are watching online. When we don't care, when we are happy to live in haram, day in, day out, in the ma'asiyah of Allah, in the disobedience of Allah, how do you expect, Ya Allah, give me rahmah, Ya Allah, make my children into this, Ya Allah, make my children... This is fake du'as. Finance comes first. Hisab on the day of judgment will be to do with, one is to do with your actions. On the day of judgment, the first thing that will be questioned, interrogated, will be your money. Will be your money. Money is the hardest one. Everything else is easy. If your money goes well, everything else goes well. Where did you obtain that money? How did you spend that money? Which avenues did you get the money from? Which avenues did you spend that money on? So be very careful. Be very careful. This is the destruction of our times right now. This is destroying us from the roots. Our deen is completely fading away from our hearts because of this reason. We are burning ourselves. We are burning ourselves. We are literally throwing ourselves at the fire. Rasulullah is telling us, I am grabbing you by your lower part of your body, from your longi, from your trousers. I'm pulling you away from the fire, but you are running towards the fire. How is a person going to save you, ya akhi? How? How do you want a person to be saved? Be happy, be content with whatever Allah gave you. Much, much, much wealth. People have lived so many thousands of years, hundreds of years, thousands of years upon the earth. Do you hear any of their names? Bill Gates, you think when he dies, do you think his name ever will be remembered after 1,000 years? Nobody would remember him. Nobody. No one will remember him. No one will care about him. So what's the point of being a billionaire on this earth if you can't do good? Yes, if Allah has given you the tawfiq and you have the halal means, then yes, there's nothing wrong in you becoming a millionaire. Nobody is telling you there's something wrong in becoming a, but the way that the path that you tread to become a millionaire must be halal also. That is difficult because the halal way of achieving money is difficult by nature. Anything halal is hard. Anything halal is hard. Nothing halal is easy. If a person wants to get married, how hard is it now? 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, come on, speak up. Isn't it hard? this much shuna, this much this much that. Hall is another 10 grand. Ferraris are another 5 grand. Isn't it? Rolls Royce and Lamborghini, Sarano, Biawa nice. Ohanani. Huh? Nobody's saying you can't. Nobody's telling you can't hire. But don't be bankrupt. Don't be miserable for the next 5-10 years of your marriage. Your marriage will go down the drain. Wallahi, the marriage will go down the drain. One of the imams, he, mashallah, he leads a lot of these nikah, all these ceremonies to read and make the nikah ceremony for the groom and the bride. He's been doing it for years and years and years now. He says, I'm telling you, all the weddings that I've been to, that I've been invited, and I myself led as the imam, 80% of those break up. Which ones? He's talking about the ones that play music. He's talking about the ones that hire the best cars. He's talking about the ones that go in the hall with free mixing. He says 80% of those marriages end up breaking within the first year. If not the first year, then within the third year, 100% guarantee. 80% of those marriages within the first 3 years gone. Marriage gone down the drain. Why? You started the best day of your life. The best day of your life in the disobedience of Allah. How do you expect mercy to come down in that marriage? You started it off with music. You started it off with free mixing of women and men together in one hall. You started it off with probably most likely haram money. Most likely haram money. You went bankrupt and you started borrowing 50, 60 grand to have a massive wedding to feed 1,000 people. Why? Why? What's the reason? What's the reason to show this pomp and glory? Who are you? We are tiny human beings on earth. Nobody cares about us. Allah cares about us. Allah cares about us. There's no point of showing off. Everyone's going through difficulty in life, brother. Don't think you're the only one. Many people are going through different types of difficulty that you'll never be able to fathom with your brain. So never ever think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left you. No. Never. Allah cannot. It's His qasam. He created you. That itself shows how much love He has for you. Allah's qasam, the amount of love the mother has, Allah has 70 times more. Allahu Akbar. So, never ever go in the disobedience of Allah and think that you are deceiving Allah. You cannot deceive Allah. There's no way. Your CCTV camera is running 24/7. It doesn't stop. When you sleep, it doesn't stop. Even when you're sleeping, the CCTV camera is running. The day that you go from this world, that's the day your CCTV camera will come to an end. Okay? That's the day that your CCTV will come to an end, and then you have to be ready for Qiyamah. Your sleep starts. Now that sleep can be the worst sleep and the worst nightmare of your life, the moment we go inside our graves. That can be the worst nightmare of your life, or it can be the best sleep in your whole life. Best sleep in your life. To the extent that in Surah Yasin, Allah, how beautifully it describes the sleep. They'll become the Jannatis, the people who will enter Jannah. Their sleep will be such inside the grave that they will become awakened. When they will be awakened, they'll be like, who's this? Who's waking me up? I was in such a nice sleep. You won't even feel it was 50, 60, 70,000. God knows how many years it's going to be until Qiyamah. People have been sleeping for thousands and thousands of years inside their graves. From the time of Adam alayhi salam, they've still been sleeping. All those that have passed away inside their graves. So if we want to make our graves rawdatan min riyadil jannah, gardens from the gardens of paradise, then we have to work for it. So always, this is the prescription given by Rasulullah. Now, this prescription doesn't mean you're going to be rich. Okay, this is a total deception. This is a total misunderstanding from the hadith. Nobody is telling you you're going to become rich, but you will not be afflicted with poverty. You will not be afflicted with poverty. Okay, you'll never go, inshallah, you'll never go out in this, you'll never have to go out in the streets and start begging others. This is the worst of the worst. Okay, this is the lowest of the lowest that you can go as a human being, to demean your status to such an extent that you have to depend on others to survive. Okay, that's the lowest of the low. Islam, al-yadul ulya khayrun min yadis sufla. The hand that gives is much better than the hand that takes. You mustn't be a person who just takes. No, you must try to be the one that tries to give. Giving is much more superior than taking. But of course, when you're giving, you must make sure that you're giving from halal sources. Okay, just because of the fact that you think that you have a superior status, in the sense that when you go Bangladesh, you become a king, mashallah, and you start giving out cash. Yes, but you have to understand where the cash is coming from. And you must first consult with others, those that are knowledgeable of how to dispense that cash, how to give out that cash. خير إن شاء الله. عن عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول من قرأ سورة الواقعة في كل ليلة لم تصبه فاقة أبدا قال وقد أمرت بناتي أن يقرأها كل ليلة. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of the greatest faqih, one of the greatest muftis of the Sahaba, he's heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, whoever recites Surah Waqiah, this surah, إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ. Please try to memorize it. Those who can't memorize it, open the Quran and read daily, every single night. Every single night. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ فِي كُلِّ لَيْلَةٍ. In every single night. No, he will not be afflicted with any type of poverty. Any type of poverty. قَالَ وَقَدْ أَمَرْتُ بَنَاتِي. Here, Ibn Mas'ud himself says, I have ordered, I have instructed, I have commanded my own daughters. He probably didn't have any sons. That's why he's saying here, Banati. My daughters to recite it every single night. That's why when he was told, don't you fear upon your daughters that you leave behind nothing? He says, no, I left behind them Surah Waqiah, the prescription of Rasulullah. If they have that and they recite that, they will be protected, inshallah. They will never be afflicted with poverty. So try your best, inshallah, to recite this surah, especially nowadays. Nowadays, we are looking at times which are very harsh. Okay, there's no one to go to help. Financially, everyone's struggling. So, inshallah, this surah will be a prescription from Rasulullah, and it will protect you financially. Okay, just like we believe in the financial means, we believe also in the spiritual means. We believe in the means which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do without any means as well. Allah doesn't need means. Allah needed means when when the knife never cut. Ismail. Knife, its nature is to cut. It never cut. Why? Allah took away the means. The fire, the nature of fire is to burn. Isn't it? The nature of fire is to burn. It didn't burn not even a hair strand from Ibrahim alayhi salam. It became cool. Fire became cool. Why? Means was taken away. Allah can do with means and without means also. Never think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the normal way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to do with means. Because you are in the world of Darul Asbab. You're in the world of means. We have to go through means. Next, inshallah, we go on to Musabbihaat. Musabbihaat are 7 surahs. We start off with the word Sabbaha yusabbihu, tasbih. Tasbih means glorification. Glorification, and the meaning that we give, glorification doesn't give a true meaning. Glorification is just to exalt and revere and honor. But the true meaning of subhan or sabbaha or yusabbihu is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being free from all type of negativities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all types of flaws, all types of deficiencies. This is the true meaning of Subhanallah. When we say Subhanallah walhamdulillah or Subhanallah wa bihamdihi Subhanallah al-azim, what do we mean? Subhanallah means Allah is free from all types of negativities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all types of flaws. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all types of deficiencies. Allah cannot. That's not within his vocabulary. Allah cannot be flawed by anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala overpowers everything. Nothing can overpower Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So which 7 surahs are these? These are Bani Israel. Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi layla min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa. Talks about the Mi'raj, isn't it? Mi'raj of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Subhanalladhi asra. Then you got Surah Hadid. Surah Hadid. You have Surah Hashar. Surah Hashar. Then you have Surah As-Saff. You have Surah Jumu'ah, number 5. You have Surah Taghabun, number 6. And number 7, you have Surah A'la. Sabbihisma Rabbikal A'la. We read all the time in Salah. So these are the 7 surahs that start off with Subhana or Sabbaha or Yusabbihu or Sabbihisma. All those words which are to do with glorification and to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all types of deficiencies. Here, عن عرباض بن سارية أنه حدثهم أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يقرأ المسبحات قبل أن يرقد وقال إن فيهن آية أفضل من 1000 آية. الله أكبر. In this narration, Irbad ibn Sariya, one of the Sahaba, he narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, whoever recites these 7 musabbihat, these 7 surahs that start off with sabbaha yusabbihu, before he sleeps, he reads these 7 surahs before he sleeps. Verily, there is an ayah inside one of those 7 surahs, 7 chapters. There's one ayah that is better than 1,000 verses. There's one ayah inside them that is better than 1,000 verses, reciting 1,000 verses. And the next hadith only affirms it. It is on the authority of Khalid ibn Mi'dan. قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا ينام حتى يقرأ المسبحات ويقول إن فيهن آية كألف آية. And this is in Imam Ahmad's Musnad. Imam Ahmad's Musnad, what I told you about, how big that book is. Massive, massive book. And it's compiled according to the companion. So the companion that narrated all his, it's like a dictionary. If you want to look at it like a dictionary, it's like any hadith that companion narrated is under that section. Under that section. So for example, all the hadiths that Abu Bakr narrated are under that chapter. After that chapter finishes, he's going to go into the next Sahabi. He's going to go into the next Sahabi, next Sahabi, next Sahabi, next Sahabi. It's like an encyclopedia of all the narrations of each and every single companion of the Prophet. Subhanallah. It's an amazing book, massive book though, huge book. It's printed in like, with the takhrij, it's like 50 volumes. Okay, with the proper sourcing of all the hadith, it's like in over 50 volumes, 52 volumes, Shu'aib notes version. MashaAllah. This hadith is also narrated in Musnad Imam Ahmad, and majority of the hadith inside Musnad Imam Ahmad is sahih. Vast majority of the hadith is sahih. So it's a very good go-to or a reference to go to. Of course, there's not many gatherings where they teach the whole book from cover to cover because of the size of the book. Right, inshallah. What is this verse? What is this special verse inside these 7 surahs? This verse that is better than 1,000 verses. Allama, everyone's heard of Ibn Kathir? Yeah? Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, he lived in the 7th century. Okay, he lived in the 7th century. He was one of the greatest scholars in hadith, in tafsir, and a great historian. Especially for his history. He's known especially for his history. Bidaya wa nihaya, the beginning and the end. He literally starts off from the beginning. Meaning, beginning of the creation even before Adam alayhi salam existed. He starts off with the beginning of the creation even before Adam alayhi salam existed. And then he goes all the way down throughout history, talking about everything possible that he can find, Islamic history, right until his time, until the 7th Islamic century. Then after that, he goes on to death and everything beyond it until we end up in Jannah or Jahannam. He talks about Jannah and Jahannam and Qiyamah and Qabr, the grave, and what is after it in great detail, mashallah. It's an amazing book on, it's translated, majority of the volumes are translated, the beginning and the end. The beginning and the end. It's a whole encyclopedia of history. So Ibn Kathir, he says this verse is referring to the verse number 3 of Surah Hadid. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. He is the first, he is the last, he is the manifest, ظاهر والباطن, and he is the one who knows what is inside your hearts. وهو عليم وهو بكل شيء عليم, and he knows everything. He knows absolutely everything. Nothing hides from his knowledge. For us, sometimes we forget things, sometimes we don't know things, sometimes we can't see things. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is impossible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never forgets. Forgetting is not within his vocabulary again. Okay? No type of deficiency is inside Allah's that we can describe Allah with. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from such things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything at all times. At every time, whether past, present, or future, because past, present, and future doesn't affect Allah. Okay? Doesn't affect Allah. It only affects us. Why? Because we're in a time frame. Allah is not in a time frame. Allah doesn't have a time frame. Allah never had a time frame. Allah always existed. Allah doesn't have a beginning. Allah doesn't have an end. So, Ibn Kathir, he says this ayah, هو الأول والآخر. He is the first and he is the last. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم, in Surah Hadid, verse number 3. Another scholar, he says, other scholars are of the opinion that is the last couple of verses in Surah Al-Hashr, the ones that we read very often. وَاللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ وَاللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الْمَلِكُ الْقُدُّوسُ السَّلَامُ الْمُؤْمِنُ الْمُهَيْمِنُ, until the end of the Surah Hashr. Two, three verses, last 2-3 verses of Surah Hashr. Okay? So many are of this opinion that it is referring to these last couple of verses, these last 3 verses of Surah Hashr. Allahu A'lam. Many others said it is hidden. It is a hidden verse. We don't know. Just like Laylatul Qadr is hidden. Rasulullah wanted to come and tell the Sahaba which day Laylatul Qadr was, but Allah made him forget. Allah made him forget. Okay? This is something extremely important. That if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do good, that's why on the last 10 nights of Ramadan, we exert ourselves in ibadah on all the odd nights, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29. Why? That way you get to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 5 nights, isn't it? At least 5 nights out of the 10. One day you get rest and the next day you're back onto it. Okay? So 5 nights instead of 1. Otherwise you would have just worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that 1 night if you knew exactly which night it was. So Allah's mercy is that you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in abundance. So likewise here as well, many other scholars, they said it's not huwa al-awwal wal akhiru, it's not huwa Allahu alladhi la ilaha illahu. Rather, it is a hidden verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself only knows. And one of those scholars is Allama Khattabi. Allama Khattabi is one of the earliest, in fact, he is the earliest commentator of the books of hadith, of the books of like Ma'alim al-Sunan of Abu Dawood and many other books. He is the one that done the first commentary, one of the first. So he lived in the 4th century. He passed away in the 4th century of Islam, 400 years, before 400 years of Islam. When I always speak, I never speak with our centuries, okay? Because you're going to get confused. I want you to have the mind frame of Islam always. Islam, 1455 years now, okay? Always keep it within there. So whenever I speak 4th century is 400 years after the Prophet's death, more or less, within that time. So Allama Khattabi was within that time. And he's the earliest commentator of books of hadith. There might have been other smaller ones, but he was like the main figure that came out in history. Likewise, Ismul A'zam, Ismullahi al-A'zam, the dua, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you make if you make with that name, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately responds to your dua. That one is hidden. Many say it's Ayatul Kursi. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal Hayyul Qayyum. Many say it's just Hayyul Qayyum. Okay, Alif Lam Mim, Allahu la ilaha illa hu al Hayyul Qayyum. Isn't it? Many say it's many of the ulama they say this. Others say no, this is hidden. And there's other various opinions as well. Which word, which name of Allah is? Many say it's Allah Himself. The word Allah Himself, because the word Allah, the name Allah itself encompasses all the other names of Allah in one. All the names of Allah exist in that one Allah. Because when you need help, what do you ask? You say, Ya Allah. When you're in happiness, you say, Ya Allah. What does that mean? That Allah includes everything. Your sorrows, your grief, your happiness, your joy, your cries, your tears, your everything. When a person dies, you say, Ya Allah. What does that mean? Ya Allah, you've taken away something so dear to me, isn't it? Yeah? So it includes all the variants and all the sifat, all the descriptions that are linked to Allah, that are connected to Allah. All of them are found within the name of Allah. So again, Ismullah al-A'zam has been hidden from us. We don't know exactly which one. Rasulullah, he kept it hidden in order for us to ask Allah in all these various ways. So when we ask Allah, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, every single time, Ya Hayy, what's Ya Hayy? Oh, ever living, all living. Translators, all living. Meaning, His living is such, our living is temporary. Our living is a temporary living. His living, in the books of Aqidah, we call him his living is the true living. Why? Because without his existence, there can be no other existence. Is that understood? All is dependent upon his living. Everything is dependent upon his living. The whole dunya, the whole universe, everything, the seven skies and everything within, all the atoms and everything that you can think, all the galaxies, every single millions of planets, everything is dependent on him. Nothing, he is dependent on nothing. This is Allah. This is Allah. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like he hid the Laylatul Qadr, likewise, he hid the Ismullah al-A'zam, the greatest name with which if you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he'll respond instantaneously. Likewise, this ayah that's greater than 1,000 verses has also according to some of the scholars, has also been kept hidden. But again, we should make an effort to please practice upon the ones that you know, isn't it? If you can't recite the 7 surahs, do it once in your lifetime. Do it at least once in your lifetime. You'll know at least you heard this once in your life, you acted upon it once in your life. You understand? The amana will be taken away. The responsibility will be alleviated. Inshallah, try tonight or whichever night that you have, inshallah, try to sit down and read these 7 surahs. Surah Bani Israel, Surah Hadid, Surah Hashr, Surah Saf, Surah Jumu'ah, Surah Taghabun, and Surah A'la. Not going to take that long. It won't take more than an hour. Inshallah, you'll complete it within an hour. Next, we move on to, inshallah, Surah Jumu'ah and Munafiqun. Surah Jumu'ah and Munafiqun. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم والذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم. عن ابن أبي رافع قال استخلف مروان أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه على المدينة وخرج إلى مكة فصلى لنا أبو هريرة الجمعة فقرأ بعد سورة الجمعة في الركعة الآخرة إذا جاءك المنافقون قال فأدركت أبا هريرة حين انصرف فقلت له إنك قرأت بسورتين كان علي بن أبي طالب يقرأ بهما بالكوفة فقال أبو هريرة إني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقرأ بهما يوم الجمعة. Marwan, he was the leader of the Muslims. He left Abu Hurairah in charge to lead the prayers. One point to make is Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, approximately 17 salahs. I remember correctly, 17 salahs, the last 17 salahs before the Prophet passed away, he made Abu Bakr lead those salahs. He made Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu lead those salahs. That shows Rasulullah is pleased with Abu Bakr in his deen. That shows Rasulullah, I'm saying this because of the Shi'as. Okay? Shi'as, they have some next level of enmity for whatever reasons, I don't know. Okay? Who are you to say anything when Rasulullah left Abu Bakr to lead the prayers? Rasulullah is happy for Abu Bakr to lead the prayers before his death. He's alive. Rasulullah is alive. But he lets Abu Bakr lead. And on one occasion, in fact, Rasulullah prayed behind Abu Bakr more or less. Abu Bakr didn't want to continue. He let Rasulullah go ahead. But anyway, the point is, he has such a status. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu has such a status where his deen is certified by who? Not you and me. By Rasulullah. If his deen is certified, does anyone need to come forward and certify his deen anymore? Huh? Any more certifications needed? Whose certificate did he get? Rasulullah's certificate. And this is the same individual whom they curse and they swear. How could they not be doomed to hell? If you're going to swear someone who Allah and his Rasul gave the certificate of paradise again and again and again and again in dunya, whilst Rasulullah was alive, how could you say that you are a Jannati? How? You're condemning someone whom Rasulullah certified to be Jannati. Anyway, to the point. The point is, if Rasulullah is happy with his deen, then of course he's going to be more so happy in the worldly affairs. Why? Because our deen comes first. Without our deen, we are nothing. Without our deen, without kalima la ilaha illallah, unfortunately, there's no paradise. Without Muhammadur Rasulullah, can you go paradise in this time and age? In the time of Musa alayhi salam, it was la ilaha illallah, Musa, kalimullah. In the time of Isa alayhi salam, it was la ilaha illallah, Isa, isn't it? They had to believe in Isa alayhi salam. The time of Muhammad now, can you say la ilaha illallah, Musa, kalimullah? You're going to go to Jannah? You can't. Time is over. Musa alayhi salam time is up. Isa alayhi salam time is up. You have to believe in the time where you're living in right now, isn't it? You can't be in the 1970s. You're living in 2023. 1970s, they didn't have this, isn't it? We're living in a total different era. Robots, AI, all this stuff existed. It didn't exist. So, not to say it's a trend. Okay? The trend is the same. La ilaha illallah is always the same. From Adam alayhi salam right until Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, la ilaha illallah doesn't change. Only the Prophet that's sent to you, that's the one that changed over time. So here, when Rasulullah is happy with the deeni affairs, that shows he is more than happy in the worldly affairs. Because worldly affairs to us, something of a very low category. Very low category. If a person's deen is intact, if his character is intact, this is the greatest. This is the greatest favor a person can ask from Allah. That, Ya Allah, preserve my deen. Ya Allah, protect my deen. Ya Allah, let me die on La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasul. So, Marwan, he left Abu Hurairah in charge. Who's Abu Hurairah? The greatest muhaddith of all the Sahaba, isn't it? The greatest muhaddith. The one who narrates the most amount of hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How do we come to know hadith? Majority of it is narrated by Abu Hurairah. Abu Hurairah, he is left in charge in Medina. Marwan goes to Makkah. Jumu'ah comes. What does Abu Hurairah recite in Jumu'ah Salah? First rak'at, he recites Surah Al-Jumu'ah. Second rak'at, he recites Surah Munafiqun. إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ. The next surah after Surah Al-Jumu'ah. These two surahs he recites in Surah Jumu'ah. Why? This Sahabi says, I went to Abu Hurairah to go and ask, Ya Abu Hurairah, why did you lead with these two surahs? Because me, when I was in Kufa, I saw Ali radiallahu anhu. Who was Ali? The fourth Caliph of Islam, isn't it? Who was Ali? The blood relative of Rasulullah. The Damand also. Damand also, isn't it? The son-in-law of Rasulullah. So Ali radiallahu anhu, he led. I saw Ali radiallahu anhu leading Jumu'ah Salah all the time with these two surahs. Surah Jumu'ah and Surah إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ. Surah Munafiqun. And now I see you do this. This is like a confirmation from another Sahabi, great Sahabi. Abu Hurairah, you do this as well? He said, I am only doing it because I saw Rasulullah. I heard Rasulullah do the same. Rasulullah read these two surahs in Jumu'ah Salah. That's why I am reciting it in Jumu'ah Salah. This shows that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do this often. He used to recite these two surahs often in Jumu'ah Salah. Surah Al-Jumu'ah itself and Surah إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُنَافِقُونَ. Then we have the next narration on the authority of Ibn Abbas. Confirmation of the same narration, but he adds in Fajr Salah on the day of Jumu'ah. Fajr Salah on the day of Jumu'ah, he used to recite Alif Lam Mim Tanzil, meaning Alif Lam Mim Sajda, Tanzilul Kitabi La Rayba Fihi Min Rabbil Alameen. We listen to this every Friday, inshallah. Those who come for the Fajr Salah. Fajr Salah is hard, but the reward of this Salah can never be attained except in Jama'ah, ya akhi. In Jama'ah. The Salah in Jama'ah is way, you will never be able to look. If you pray the Isha Salah in Jama'ah, you get the reward of half the night in prayer. As if you worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for half the night. And then if you make it to Fajr Salah, then as if you've prayed the whole night in prayer, even if you've been sleeping. Even if you've been sleeping, if you come in and pray the Isha Salah with the Imam, and then again come back for Fajr Salah and pray with the Imam, as if you've done ibadah for the whole night. Imagine. You done nothing. You didn't even pray 2 rakats when you went home. You just went to sleep. You knocked out, you woke up, alarm came, you made wudu, you came running back to the masjid. As if you've prayed tahajjud all night. Why would you want to miss out on rewards like this? You understand? Every single night we're missing out on rewards like this. So, please understand the virtue. Each salah, even if you pray at home, you will get the reward, but it's only when you come to Salatul Jama'ah, it is multiplied minimum times by 20 to 27 times. 25 to 27 times. Minimum. So each and every single salah that you pray is multiplied by 25 to 27 times minimum. And then according to your sincerity, it is multiplied even. Allahu Akbar. Every single step that you take to come to the masjid, every single step that you take to come to the masjid, your sins are being forgiven. Your reward is being written for every single step. Your status in Jannah is going higher. You know, mashallah, there's an uncle, very old now. He still goes to the masjid, walking. He makes sure even if you tell him, can I give you a lift? He refuses. Even until this day, he refuses. He's gone through a stroke. He's gone through so much. Until this day. This was his habit from his young age. From the time we've been growing up, we've been seeing him go to the masjid 5 times a day. 5 times a day, non-stop. Until today, he still goes. Even today, I saw him go. This is the type of people that understand what Jannah is. This is the type of people that understand what true reward is. They understand the value of Jannah. We haven't understood. Unfortunately, we have only read. We haven't truly registered it inside our minds. If it truly came into our minds, we'd never ever leave it out. Because this type of reward is not. Imagine your workplace. Say your manager says, tomorrow if you come to work, I'll give you double the salary. What happens? Everyone starts running. Book me in, isn't it? Uber driver. Imagine they say tomorrow you get double the pay. What's gonna happen? Instead of earning 250 pounds, you're gonna be earning 500 pounds on that one day. What's gonna happen? You're gonna be running to work, isn't it? Nighttime, daytime, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do the full shift, even 16-hour shift, no problem. You'll do it with a smiling face as well. Because why? Fulus. Here, Allah is telling you not double the reward. He is telling you 27 times minimum for each and every single prayer. When you pray at home, it doesn't even, your mind doesn't, you can't even focus. Try it. I'm sure when we can't come to the masjid, we pray at home. Mind can't focus. Your children are screaming, your wife is saying this, your mother is screaming on the other side. Isn't it? That's just natural. Your mind is all over the place. You're thinking of money, you're thinking of which clothes you're going to wear, you're thinking when you're going to go to this place, when you're going to go to that place. Your mind is all over the place. When you come to the masjid, alhamdulillah, leave all those things aside. And this is what salah is. Salah is when you say Allahu Akbar, you leave the whole dunya behind you. Don't care about dunya. Now here, this is me and Allah. This is me and my Jannah. This is me specifically speak. This is my time that I get specifically to have one-on-one, one-to-one connection with my Allah. I'm speaking directly to my Allah. I can cry as much as I can. This is my connection. This is my bond. This is my peace. This peace you can't get at home. We know ourselves. This peace you cannot get at home. Of course, if you can pray at the night when no one is looking, this is the best salah. Tahajjud salah, when no one is looking, everyone is snoring. Inside the house, everyone is snoring. Your babies are snoring, your wife is snoring, your mothers are snoring, your brothers and sisters are snoring. You wake up, you make wudu, and go and cry in front of Allah. You pour your heart out. You pour your heart out. Because there's nothing in between now. There's no barriers. There's no barriers between you and Allah at that time. There's no one looking at you. You're in the darkness of your room. Who's looking at you? No one. This is when you have the true time. This is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala boasts with his angels. He says, do you look at this slave? Do you look at Abdul Rahman? Do you look at Lashan? Do you look at Zubair in his house? Look at what he's doing. This is why I created these humans. This is why I created these humans. There will be amongst them such that their ranks will outweigh and outdo all the ranks of the angels as well. Because according to the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah, we can go higher than the ranks of even the angels. And we believe, according to the consensus of all the scholars, that the rank of Rasulullah is much higher than the rank of Jibreel. Jibreel is the chief angel, chief archangel. Rasulullah's rank is higher than the rank of Jibreel. Why? You might ask why. How? Jibreel, he does because he's commanded to do. He's got a choice. He doesn't have choice. Any angels, they have choice. They want to do or not to do. Humans all have choice. When you choose to do good, this is when Allah boasts. This is when Allah boasts. He says, look, this banda of mine, this insan, this small human that I created, he is more beloved to me than anything, than the whole world and whatever exists inside this world. Why? Because he chose me over the world. He chose me over everything. Every single luxury that you can think of, he gave up everything. Mus'ab ibn Umair, inshallah, one day when the time comes, how did he die? He died with a piece of cloth. If you cover his face, his feet are coming out. If you cover his feet, his face comes out. Who was he? He was the son of the billionaire of his time in Makkah. When he went, the dress code that he used to wear was such that even the whole of Makkah used to just stare at him like, wow, this is a king going past. When the fragrance, the perfume that he used to wear, you can smell it a mile away. A mile away. This is not Versace and Gucci, brothers. This, a mile away, you can smell the perfume of who Mus'ab ibn Umair was. This same Mus'ab is the same Mus'ab that went to Medina. He left everything. Everything. All the, what you can think of your minds of Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Rolls Royce and Porsche and everything included. He left everything. He left everything for who? For Allah. And he died in that state. What do you think his recompense is going to be? What do you think Allah will give him? He was the one that went and invited all the people of Medina. All the people of Medina's Islam depends on this one man. One son of a billionaire. Son of a billionaire. Mus'ab ibn Umair. Remember this name. One of the greatest companions. Because of him, majority of Medina became Muslim. All the Ansar, they owe their credit of Islam to who? To this one man. This one man, and the other man was Abdullah bin Ummi Maktum, the blind. Abasa wa tawalla. Surah was revealed in regards to him. The rank of Abdullah bin Ummi Maktum. So these two were the earliest of companions that were sent by Rasulullah, commissioned by Rasulullah to go to Medina and to make da'wah. They were the earliest of the earliest. Subhanallah. So some of the reasons why we read Surah Al-Jumu'ah on the day of Jumu'ah, in the prayer of Jumu'ah, it mentions, it encourages the believers to attend the Jumu'ah itself, because we know the hadith mentions a severe warning. Severe warning. What's the warning? The person misses 3 Jumu'ahs. This is by way of warning. Please understand this very well. Don't understand it literally. This is not understand it very well. I'm gonna try to explain it to the best of my ability. Any person who misses 3 Jumu'ahs without a valid Shar'i excuse, not just an excuse, without a valid excuse in the Sharia, okay? 3 Jumu'ahs consecutively, one after the other, his heart is sealed. His heart is sealed. Sealed from what? Allahu ala qulubihim wa ala sam'ihim wa ala absarihim ghishawa. Their eyes are sealed, their ears are sealed, their hearing is sealed, everything is sealed. And they have been put like a barrier upon their eyes. Why? Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want iman for you, you can try as much as you want. You'll never get iman. Whereas on the other side, look at that singer that passed away recently, 56-year-old or something. Subhanallah. How many years was she a Muslim? A couple of years, 4 years, 5 years. She passed away. All her life in the disobedience of Allah. But when Allah chooses, can the whole world turn against? Can't do anything. Whole world can't do anything. Another man recently, on social media again as well, he embraced Islam. Within that one day, he passed away. Before 24 hours, he passed away in the dunya. His Jannah was written that way. His Jannah was written. So you'll see a person, he all 80 years, 90 years he's lived in this dunya. He's lived as a non-Muslim. He didn't know much, or he didn't want to embrace for whatever reasons he had. And then just before he passes away, he embraces Islam. Allah wants deen for him. Allah wants the best for him. Allah wants him to go Jannah. Allah wants us to go Jannah. But without effort, it's not possible, brothers. Without effort, it's not possible. For Allah to show that mercy, that special mercy and that connection, you have to build. You have to build when? At the last part of the night. When nobody's looking. Here, you got no one to show off to. You have no one to show off to. Here is specifically you and your Allah. This is humility. My ustad used to say, one of my ustads used to say, Allah has all the best qualities. All. Except one. We used to think like, what is he talking about? Allah has all the best qualities except one. We used to think like, what type of a question is this, you know? He said, yes. Which one? You must guess. We don't know. Go ahead. Eh? You know, love is Allah is one of the names of His is love. We have to get willingly wait. Okay, maybe, but still, love is part and parcel of Allah. Okay, love is a must. For Allah to create us, that automatically shows love. For Allah to give us life automatically shows love. Inkisari. What is inkisari? Inkisar means complete humility, absolute humility. When a person is completely shattered, and in such a, for example, I'll give you an example here. If you hear right now, all your family members are dead, right now, that hopelessness, that feeling of complete brokenness, absolute brokenness, completely shattered with a million hammers. Yeah? That brokenness is what Allah loves. This is what Allah doesn't have. This type of, Allah doesn't have humility. Allah is izzah. Izzati wal jabarut. Kibriya. Rida. My rida, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, my power is full of pride. Allah is the only one deserving of pride. Humility is the opposite of pride. We are the ones that show humility to get from the bounties of the Lord, to get from the bounties of the King. So for you, when you show that level of brokenness, absolute brokenness, completely shattered into a million pieces, when you cry like that, like a baby, this is the time when Allah will respond. This is the time when Allah will respond. Allahu Akbar. So Surah Al-Jumu'ah, because it encourages people to come for Jumu'ah. That's the first thing. Second thing, the excellence in sending Rasulullah to us. Without Rasulullah, can we go paradise?
Allahu Akbar,
No paradise. La ilaha
Allahu
illallah,
Akbar,
Muhammadur Rasulullah is the second part of your faith. Without that, no Jannah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا
Third thing,
إله
inshallah,
إلا الله.
reciting the verses of Allah. The duty of
أشهد
Rasulullah
أن
is
لا
reciting the verses
إله
of
إلا
Allah,
الله.
purifying us, tazkiyatun nafs, purifying our heart.
أشهد أن محمدا رسول
teaching.
الله.
Book, which book? The Quran to us. Number
أشهد
4
أن
is
محمدا
wisdom. Wisdom is
رسول
sunnah, referring to hadith.
الله.
And lastly, it encourages them to engage in the
حي
remembrance
على
of
الصلاة.
Allah. Remember, engage in the
حي على
remembrance of Allah. Dhikrullah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا